Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. Thanks for joining me. As always, I just feel very blessed to have you tuning in. I know there's lots of places you could be checking out right now, but you're here. Thank you. I really appreciate that. If you're somebody who struggles with food and weight, then this is definitely the place to be. I was 50 pounds overweight and struggled hopelessly with my weight. It was so hard. I had so much just strife and stress and unhappiness about my weight. And I have to tell you that I don't live that way anymore. I'm free today, and I'm so, grateful and blessed. And I'm really here on a mission to share with you what has worked for me, what's happened for me, so that you can also have the experience of freedom. So I want that more than anything for you. So thanks for being here. Let's do this. Today's topic is angels. And I think because it's coming upon holiday time, it's a very appropriate topic. Now, I'm not going to get all woo-woo on you and talk about angels and other realms and this kind of thing much, but I do want to say that I'm here to talk about angels in your life and being aware of angels and all the different forms they come in. So if you go to the dictionary definition of an angel, which I did, the definition is a spiritual being believed to act as an attendant, agent, or messenger of God, conventionally represented in a human form with wings and a long robe. Well, I'm not talking about angels with wings and a long robe here. Another definition is an attendant spirit, especially a benevolent one. So that's a little bit more along the lines that I'm going to talk about today. But whatever your religious or spiritual beliefs, I think what the common denominator in what I'm going to talk about here with your beliefs around angels is that it is absolutely an attendant spirit, especially a benevolent one, a being that is here to deliver a message, deliver comfort, deliver guidance to you. And I'm talking today about angels that come in human form. And as I said, they don't have wings or a long robe or a harp, but they are real people whom God is using to help you. Okay, and those are the angels I want to focus on today, and I believe those are the angels that we have in our lives and do help us and are messengers from God. But what's important about this topic is that we are definitely co-collaborators with these angels in our lives, meaning that angels are everywhere. We have angels everywhere all the time looking to help us. And really, essentially, God, or whatever you choose to call higher power, this wonderful benevolent being that is always working for our highest and best good in our lives, is looking for ways to touch our hearts and to reach us, because God doesn't have a booming voice and doesn't talk to me, or talk to us in regular English language or whatever language that you may be speaking in. But I believe people around us are angels in that they are used by divine spirit to really help us. And so our job as co-collaborators with this beautiful process of receiving the messages from angels is to wake up and notice the wonderful ways that we are being touched by God through other people. And what's important about this is that I really believe that we cannot be truly spiritual beings without embracing our humanness and without reaching out to other people on this realm of existence. So as much as we want to be spiritual, as much as we want to reach other realms and have this amazing, euphoric, transcendent experience all the time with our higher power, with spirituality, our feet do have to be firmly planted in this earth. And when we realize that, if we're here as humans. Yes, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, but that human experience can be very integrated with our spiritual experience. And I believe that happens when we connect with other people and when we noticed how God is working through those people to help us. And so our job is to be aware of the ways in which God is working through others, other angels, to guide us, protect us, help us in every kind of way. So I'm going to talk about a few situations where I have recently been touched by angels. And, I recently had two different people in my life, two different women within the span of, actually it was in the same 24 hours. So within the same 24 hours, two different women said something to me that was somewhat of a cautionary form of advice. And they were virtually saying the same thing. And it wasn't a doom and gloom thing. All they were saying to me is follow your heart. Okay, but two different people said virtually the same thing in a very intentional way. Like it was important for them to say, follow your heart. Take in the advice, gather the information, do the research. But at the end of the day, follow your heart. And the fact that both these women said that to me, literally within a span of about 5 or 6 hours, I noted that as God speaking through these women. And the messaging to me was absolutely divine because it was super helpful to me. And it was it was a situation that I might not have followed my heart on had I not had two people in my life specifically say, follow your heart. And so I took that as a sign. I took that as absolutely God working through these beautiful beings to help me get in touch with my heart and so I could make the right decision. And I just, it got me thinking about angels. It got me thinking about the fact that, when I pay attention, I can hear God speaking to me, not in that loud booming voice, but through other people, through angels in my life. Now, what's important is that I put myself in a position to be touched by these angels. And what I mean by that is, had I not been on the phone with one of these women, I had a sort of accountability call with one of these women for our business. And had we not scheduled that call, had we not chosen each other as accountability partners, and had we not, had that phone call, I would never have gotten that messaging. And later on, I went to an event, a gala, and there was another woman there who gave me the same type of messaging. Had I not been at the gala, had I not been socializing, had I not been speaking to people about, my life and what was going on in my business, I would not have received that messaging. So the lesson there is that I have to show up in order to receive God's guidance. I have to show up in the world and I have to engage with other messengers, with angels. Again, we want to isolate, meditate, get super into our spiritual practices and forget that the real, the rubber meets the road in terms of spirituality when we're out in the world practicing, being angels in other people's lives, practicing engaging with angels who can be angels in our lives. It's not going to happen when we're on our own, isolated, and just living in, this monastic experience. Not that, monks aren't a good thing, not that people aren't extremely spiritual when they're living in that environment. But there's a lot to be said with, meditating in the morning, praying in the morning, doing your spiritual work, and then getting on out there and living life and interacting with people so that you can come in contact with these angels that can guide you and direct you. So much of the time we think dealing with people is a pain in the ass and it's, cumbersome and it gets in the way of our deep spiritual seeking. But I believe God meant us to be connected to one another. I believe that that's really where the juice, where the real spiritual power comes from, is when we're connected at the heart level. Sure, dealing with people is hard. People have various personalities that don't always work with ours. Some people are a little off the wall, a little out there. There are stressful situations. There's people who aren't very conscious, and they can, rub up against us in a way that's really, it produces strife for us and stress. But if we're paying attention, God is using people to reach us, even the troubling ones, even the ones that cause us stress. There are messages there. There is guidance there. There are lessons to be learned, and we just have to wake up to that. So, how can somebody who's a pain in the ass be an angel in our lives? Well, God isn't always just, bringing us messages that feel good. Sometimes we're being taught things that, we're being taught lessons we didn't really look to learn. Like, we weren't really looking to learn these lessons. Hard situations where we feel challenged, where we feel burdened, where we feel like God's giving us a bum rap. Sometimes those situations have the richest lessons for us. Sometimes people who are the most difficult to deal with have the deepest lessons for us. Again, so we need to pay attention, and we need to embrace all situations as opportunities for us to learn, and as really opportunities for us to hear God. And so this is, the angel experience I'm talking about. When we get out in the world, when we interact with people, when we embrace all of it, not just the good experiences, not the happy high notes only, but the lower notes, the deeper notes, the notes that are dissonant and don't sound so good. If we embrace all of it, we will get lessons continually that we can use for our spiritual journey and for our evolvement. And I believe, there's God in all those messages. And I believe angels that look more like devils can be angels in our lives. It all depends on our perspective. It all depends on if we're awake, if we're alert, if we're paying attention. And so that's the most important thing, is that we always have angels in our lives. They don't show up with harps. They don't show up with, fig leaves on them and robes and billowing robes. They are real people, real circumstances, but that carry a spiritual lesson for us, a spiritual message that if we pay attention, we can hear and we can use to our benefit. That's the beautiful thing about spirit, about the divinity of life, of our human life, is that we can grow and learn in a spiritual way as we interact with other humans on this planet. And so just be aware of that. Now, the more we embrace these lessons, the more we don't fight it, the more we aren't saying, God, why did you do this to me? Or why is this happening to me? But when we try to have a philosophical or spiritual outlook and say, gosh, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this and become a better person? I know that sounds a little far-fetched or hard, but that's where the real growth comes. That's where the benefits of living this life come, is when we're seeing things from that self-evolution perspective of, really growing and learning and changing and becoming more connected with spirit. I mean, I believe the challenges in our life are meant to connect us and drive us to that place of humility and that place of real yearning for spiritual connection from our higher power. So there's a lot of benefits to be had, but the truth is, the more we embrace all of life, I believe the more we will attract good angels, and angels that bring, beautiful messages like a song into our lives, just like these two women did just the other day. Two women saying virtually the same thing to me within a 6-hour period of time. That was such a blessing to me. And it was really good advice that I really needed to hear that particular time. So watch for angels in your life. Watch for things that are being said that aren't just, on the human level. When you hear something that is ringing true for you in your heart, consider that it's maybe a spiritual message, but consider that God is using this person to speak to you, that this is actually an angel in your life. And try to see from that perspective. But another way that you can recognize this is to get more tapped in and tuned in and aligned with spirit. And we do that through meditation and prayer and reading and writing, sharing, in confidence with somebody who cares, talking about, things that are important to us or troubles that we're having. When we do these spiritual practices, it helps us be more aligned so that we can hear the voice of angels. So my meditation practice, I believe, opens me up to hear angels in my life and to recognize them as angels and not just blow off what they have to say. So take time to get still and quiet in the morning. Take time to connect with your divine spirit so that you can notice when God is using somebody to help you and protect you and guide you. Okay, so we got to get tuned in. Super, super important. And I just want to say that oftentimes God speaks to us through intuition. So it might not be an angel in human form, but it might just be an idea, a divine idea that comes. And that's another way that God is directly working to guide us and protect us. And last thing I want to say is that we can be angels in other people's lives. So the more tuned in, the more aligned we are, the more spiritual we are, the more we are going to, or the more spiritual we strive to be. We don't have to be spiritual, just striving to be spiritual is, helping us to be spiritual. But see how you can be an angel in somebody else's life. Speak up when you feel moved, when you feel inspired to speak up about something, do it. Both these women didn't have to say what they said to me. It took a little bit of courage to say, look, be sure to follow your heart. It was said with love, but it was also intentional what they said. They were trying to caution me and guide me, and I'm so appreciative of that. And so in order to be an angel in somebody else's life, you have to take a risk of speaking up and saying something that may not be received. I mean, it may not be received, but take a risk and be an angel in somebody's life by saying what it is that's on your heart to say. We can be angels in other people's lives when we do speak up, when we simply follow our own divine guidance. When we feel moved to say something, say it. Don't stuff it. Say it. Don't sit on it. Say it. Be an angel in somebody else's life. And also just look for ways to be of service. When we're of service, when you open the door for an elderly person or somebody who's struggling with a baby carriage, or, when we are looking for opportunities to be helpful, to connect one person with another person, maybe a job opportunity with somebody who's searching for a job. When we do these little acts of kindness, these random acts of kindness, it helps us up-level our own consciousness, and it helps us be an angel in other people's lives. And this is really, this is really the name of the game. This is what life is all about, is being of service to others and being open when others are being used to be of service to us. And, that's how life gets good. We wake up, we notice that God is speaking to us in the form of other people's messaging, other people's comments and guidance. And we ourselves are angels in other people's lives by speaking up, by reaching out, by being involved. But the bottom line is, again, get involved in life, get out there, get engaged with other people, pay attention to what's being said, pay attention to the messages that are coming to you from God through angels, through other people, and life will only get better. So I hope that helps. I hope you try it. I hope you get more alert and aware of messaging that is coming to you, answers to problems or questions that you've had. Notice when people are speaking to you and see if perhaps that's not truly God speaking to you through that person. That's all I have for now. Thank you so much for being with me. It's always a pleasure, and I love you so much. You have a great day.
If you enjoyed this show and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.